Hi Vinicius, hi Kwan. I see that you're early on the stream, so it's great to have you here. Um, so today I decided to have, basically a member-only chat stream. So other people, might still be able to visit the stream, but they will not be able to post chat. So I think we can have more of like a more focused session, where we're focusing mainly on the member questions, and also, I can basically just focus on my own work without any distractions. So I'm testing out this new format. Of course, I will also stream, with the option for other people to eventually, join the stream and chat with us. But I also wanted, to thank my members, who are supporting this channel. So I think I can provide this, to have a more like a, closer connection to you guys. So so currently, I don't have any members, but those who are here, I'm glad that you have arrived. And this weekend I was working on some improvement on the price action recognition. And so what I have here is some of the work that I was working on over the weekend. So maybe let me just show you what I have prepared today. So as you know, I've been using moving averages, highs and lows, to identify breakouts. But now recently, what I've been trying to do is I've trying to, work with intervals. So for example, here we have a very simple script that is able to detect double bottoms and double tops. And so if you look here, this script what it's doing is it is taking the most recent lows for the past 5 days, and it is taking the minimum of each trading day. And so for example, we see a low at this level and a low at this level, which then signifies a low. Hi Martin, nice to have you on the stream. So it's great that all my members have arrived today. So yeah, welcome guys. So before I actually proceed, with showing the trades, actually what I'm going to do first is I'm going to show you, how this application recognizes double tops and double bottoms. So Martin, who was here, and Juan, you've seen me struggling, on last Tuesday or last Wednesday, and I think I finally found, a method that is actually more efficient, and at least it's easier to work with me. And I also, what's very interesting is that I finally found a way how to save lists in a data frame. So if you look here at this line, for example, to get the most 5 recent previous highs, all I have to do is just take the window of the rolling method and then save it as a list. So this is basically a list of lists that is then being saved, as previous highs. So here I have the most 5 previous highs. And then to show you the double tops and double bottoms, basically what I've done is I've taken out of this list the 2 highest highs for the resistance zones and then the 2 highest lows. And if these 2 highs and lows are within a certain price deviation tolerance, so if they're like basically similar to each other, then I mark it as potential resistance and support. And now I'm going to show you what it looks like on the price chart. Vinicius texted, I'm in the call. What do you mean? Do we have any call at the moment? Or am I just misunderstanding something? By the way, Vinicius, you are a member of ATJ Traders, YouTube channel, and but I can see that you are not, part of the Discord channel yet. So here, if you check out Discord, I have a link for you where you can, join also member-only channels on Discord. And Martin and Juan, who are part of the group, are also there. So feel free to join. As I don't see there yet, and we are, from time to time sharing some of our, member-only chats and analysis in that group. so feel free to join. Okay, so I wanted to show you guys my new finding on the support resistance. So here we have our OHLC H1 chart, and I think the problem with using the rolling is that 1 second. So basically we have the highs and lows for every period, and then we're checking if this is true or not. So let's have a look at an example. So the lines, they don't they only show the highs and lows for a certain period, but I think that we should be seeing some very good examples. And the reason why it doesn't show everything, right? So I assume that this line should span from here to here. So this is just some graphical optimization. But if you look at this line here, it is almost touching this line, and this line as well. So this support level looks very nice. And let's look at other examples if I find some. So for example, here we have the resistance line here, and then we have another resistance line here. So that is also very nice resistance level with 2 touches. And so if you allow me some time, to go through the plotly visualization tool, I will try to draw a full line so we can have a look at a nicer graphical representation. So I think what I should do is, because we're always taking the last 5, so we are actually 5 days behind. So the resistance and support should actually be drawn 5 days in advance. So I think this is what I have to do. So here, as we compute the support and resistance, instead of shifting this forward, we have to shift it backwards. So this is a small adjustment. So this is the actual support resistance for the backtest. So actually I'm gonna leave it there, but for the visualization, I'm gonna call it visual, so we can, it's like just a visual representation of our support resistance, and we're going to shift it backwards. So here I'm going to do -5, and here -5. Yeah, Juan asked question, entering lists in data frame cells, I think panels will be less efficient with non-object data types. Yes, that is true. And so, of course, if you have like a list or dictionaries or any type of Python object saved in a panels data frame, which by the way is possible, you will see some performance decrease if you work with these data. But I don't feel like it influences me that much, because if you look at this data frame, we are working with H1 and D1 data. So in terms of analyzing 1,000 or even 10,000 rows, I don't see any performance issues. So unless you're working with 100,000 or a million rows, I would say this is none of our concern. And for our analysis, I think it's still very convenient, because now we can actually look at the 5 previous ones. Another option, as you said, is we could, for example, save every value in a separate column, which is also possible and might improve the efficiency. But I think now, because this is more convenient, because we can now write functions that take into account lists as inputs, that for me is a nice convenient thing. And as long as it doesn't, as you say, affect the performance of the code, we should be fine. But generally, your idea is correct, that we could say, like, in terms of the data analysis part and efficiency, this is not a nice thing to do. But anyways, I think sometimes when you want to create something, analyze the past 5 candles, I think for me that's more convenient. And for example, me, if I wanted to, for example, save the past 6 candles or 10 candles, I wouldn't want to create 10 rows, and for me, you know, using a list is more efficient. But of course, I'm not like a programming expert, so I think someone, you know, who is more experienced pandas would let you know. But overall, I wouldn't also say like that performance is affect that much, because you know, if you think about it, everything in Python is basically an object, right? If it's a single value, or if it's basically you know, pointer that, you know, points at multiple values such as a list, I think it shouldn't be a problem. Yeah, so basically I tried, you know, to justify myself using that, and you guys try it out. So for example, if I just run this analysis, you know, from start to finish, so I'm running all the cells now. So in every cell, we should see, you know, the time it takes, you know, to execute these things. So here, saving these lists, you know, took here about 88 milliseconds, so almost nothing, even though it's 1,200 rows. So that was very fast. Processing the lists in this data frame took 25 milliseconds, of course. So I should, of course, share my specifications, my computer. So I have like i5 processor, 16 GB RAM. I think I have 4 cores in total. No, 8. 1 second. I have 3 PCs, so I don't remember, you know, exactly which one it is. So well, I'll let you know later after I review the specifications. But regardless, it is a PC that has should be good enough. So yeah, 25 milliseconds execution time should be great. Should be good enough. If anything that requires optimization, I think is my backtest, because when it comes to backtesting here, it takes where's my backtest? 12 seconds to run the backtest on all trades. So I think the backtester requires the most attention as of this moment. Okay, so here I wanted to visualize the support and resistance. So let's just create a chart. And I'm going to add the support for the visual one. And then the resistance for the visual. Okay, so I've created this data frame, and then SR figure is equal to, not give, but a fig is equal to create price figure, and I'm going to add my OHLC data frame, and my indicators for this will be the support visual part and then the resistance visual part. And this script basically is identifying just double tops and double bottoms. I'm just checking, you know, the 2 highest and the 2 lowest values. So basically we are talking about 2 touches of a support and resistance. So now let me try to visualize this chart here. So hopefully that works. So if I look at the support level, because I shifted backwards, so I'm just checking if I did it correctly. Let's look at some examples here. Yeah, I think it might still be missing something. So we have a touch here and a touch here. So I think this level here, when it comes to the, you know, support, should actually be extended somewhere here. And this level here should be, you know, pushed forward. So maybe we should try it again like this. And try again. Or actually, let me just check the original support and resistance. Oh, actually I made mistakes because I wanted, you know, actually to do the visual part. Let's try again. And hopefully maybe it will look better now. So it's shifted by 5 days. Oh, maybe we have it figured out now, or maybe not. So if you see here, we have a touch here and then another touch here. So if we take the recent 5 lows, and that's the interval, you know, so we're taking the recent 5 highs and lows. It means that May 11th trend should be included. So this is still shifted by 5, and if we don't shift anything, you know, these two and these two lines should touch. I'm still trying, you know, to adjust the lines. And then if you look, for example, here, right, we see that we have a touch at this level and touch at this level. So this is, this would be our new support level for the past 5 days. Maybe if I remove the shifts, I think that could potentially also help. So let's just have a look at an example without the shifts. Because then that line would start, or maybe we should try the shift 4. Okay, let's have a look again. And for some reason now it looks somewhat nicer. It's still kind of interesting. I think I should like extend these lines using forward fill. Let me also do that. So I'm going to actually go back with no shift 5, and I'm going to call F fill, which will also push you know, the support resistances forward. So that way we have like full lines that will connect. And now let's have a look at our examples. So for example here, what we have here is, okay, this line is maybe pushed too much, but we see that here we have this, you know, price tolerance, right? So even though this one is not touching exactly, it is still very close to this level, and we are using this line, you know, the lowest line for our support level. So this one we could hold. And for example, if you want the support resistance to be more precise, what you can do is you can decrease the price tolerance. So right now, these two lines must be at least 5 points, maximum 5 points away from each other to be marked as support resistance. And if they are not, we can mark it as 2, for example. So if we want, you know, just a difference of 2, then we have lowered the tolerance, and now the prices must be much closer. And sometimes, you know, you see that the price is above and below, and that is because we are using F fill. So we also need to add some logic, you know, to disregard some of the values. So here, for example, if you look at this example here, we also see a very nice support resistance. So we see, for example, that price, you know, has touched this level here. And then we also have a level here, so it's like very close, and this would be considered as a support level. So if we have like a breakout on our test in the future, we could use that for a backtest. And I've actually done various backtests that have been, you know, profitable. So maybe then after I'm done with this visual part, I can show you some of the backtests that I've made and the strategies that I've developed based on the support and resistances. So one last thing that we should like consider is, you know, how valid these levels are after, you know, they've been touched. So for example, here we have a touch, and then, you know, for a long time nothing happens here because we don't have any double tops and bottoms. So maybe we should create like a maximum validity validity for support and resistance. Let's say, we take the past 5 days and then they should project, maybe 5 days into the future. So we're looking for a trade opportunity within 5 days or maybe 3 days to break or test that level. And to do that, they should extend. So this is for a visual part, and the visual part should extend until 3 days into the future. So maybe I should shift these things. So let's ignore forward fill for now. And yeah, let me just quickly change the music. So just marking, a start and an end for, the visual representation. So we're starting, 5 days into the past, because we are analyzing the past 5 days, or actually 4. Because if we take rolling 5, it means it's the fourth, we're shifting by 4 basically. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think that should be correct. And then if you want to project it into the future, we want to shift the same values by 2 into the future. And actually we don't need to compute the things again because we already did compute them. Or actually we do need to keep these things. So previous highs and lows, we apply the same function. And maybe let's take the support resistance as a reference. So here we're shifting 4 days into the past. Here shifting also 4 days into the past. And here we're shifting 2 days into the future. And this is our end interval. And then we have a float object has no attribute sort. So maybe I made a mistake with the changes here. Oh, because I'm applying a function, but I don't need this function because, I just need to apply the function here. So let me run this again. And now that we have these two computed, I'm just going to, add these two together. So here our resistance visual is equal to OHLCD1 start, or actually I'm going to create a lambda function instead. Or actually I'm gonna create a function. I think here in Python we have to create like so either this value is none and this is something, or this is none and this is something, or oh, I think I know how to do it. So I will use define set future SR, and then here we're adding the parameter x And then here, if we have any X in the resistance, visual start, return Okay, I'm setting here the future support, otherwise written none, and here I'm setting the future actual resistance, and here I'm setting the future support. And here support visual end. So here I'm just going to apply here the first function with axis is equal to 1, and then I'm going to apply the same function to the other one. Okay, let's try to run this. It works, and now the last part is to visualize it again, and hopefully we'll have a great looking chart. And I do hope that I didn't mess it up again. Maybe I did mess it up again. Let's have a look again. Let's try forward fill again and see what happens. Sometimes drawing the lines okay, maybe it's starting to look like something. Like, of course, if you draw on the chart. Oh, here, by the way, we are in profit on BTCUSD. Forgot to mention that today, so this is great. I just want to mention that if you draw it on a chart, of course, you have this support and resistance level here, right? But for example, for support resistance, you can have like overlapping ones, and this is like easy to draw on a chart. So you could, for example, draw something like that also. And because it's overlapping, in terms of like drawing on a chart manually is easier than Python, because now I can only have one valid line at the same time. So for that reason, just actually visualizing the actual support resistance zones and then projecting into the past might be the best solution. So maybe I wasted 15 minutes of my time here, but at least we've tried. So at least I can show you the support and resistance again. So let's compute the values again. And here we just have the resistance one more time. Okay, so let's have a look at the examples again. So for example, this value here is projecting 5 days into the past, and it is looking for some support and resistance levels. So for example, we start on November 30th, and it is going back until November 25th if we take 5 days, or we exclude the weekend, then it's November 23rd. So in other words, let me just use a pen and draw closer what I mean by that. So this red line, what it represents is basically we're taking the current value that we have, and then we're projecting that line 5 days in the past to find the maximum values, which is basically moment. So this is a top, and this here is the second top. Okay, and if we project this line back in the past again, so here we don't see anything, or probably this could be it. So this would be another top. Then this could be a top. And currently my algorithm only takes two. Oh, actually, it's a bottom now, right? So let's call it a bottom. And here we have another bottom. And here we have another bottom. So do you guys see that? This is what my script is doing, and unfortunately I was not able, to draw it as nicely as I wanted to. But I think this is basically good enough to understand that whenever we have a breakout of this and that level, so for example, if you have this top here, we could be looking for some breakout opportunities here, right? Or for example, if we touch that level and then we see that we have, some bullish engulfing at this level, maybe we can look for a reversal trade here. So this is basically it, and let's actually get to backtesting. And I do have some interesting backtest for you guys that we can have a look at. And I've performed some backtests on the US tech, on Bitcoin, and also on some forex markets. So let's actually start with US tech. And because I adjusted the code a bit, so now we're just applying, the support resistance zones, for the past 5 days, and we also have to check the validity, of that. So I'm going to use ffill to basically, project these zones into the future. And also I'm going to shift the values by 1, because we don't know that a support resistance is a real support resistance until it's closed. So that's why I'm shifting by 1 to make sure that the candle is closed, because in the real market, when you trade for real, you don't know the close price until it is closed. So the shift here is actually very important. And then I'm using ffill to project the levels forward. And so basically what we have here is for example, we see a resistance level here, but of course this resistance level is applied on this previous levels right here. So if I show you an example, and let's actually scroll a bit more to the back, and I think it's just a question of getting used to it with this representation. And so we see this resistance here is valid for, oh, this is a very thick line. I need to adjust the line thickness here. So this level right here that you see here is actually shifted by 1 day. So if we look at this level, it is basically this level. Let me just draw it here into the past. It is basically just this level and this level right here. And so anything that's beyond that should not be considered resistance, but this resistance is basically the resistance from previous 5 days. So we should just be looking at this breakout, for example, in order for it not to be that confusing. And the same thing, for example, applies for the support down here. So this support down here, if we roll it back, we have this level here, and then we have another level right here, and then here we have a breakout. This is a breakout, and then everything after that is already a broken support resistance level, and how we treat it is basically up to us later. And so ffill can in fact be very dangerous in terms of how long is this resistance valid or not. And I think in order to measure the duration of the support resistance, we can basically measure how many candles has it been that it's the same value, right? So for example, if the resistance is older than 1 day, it's okay, but if the resistance is older than maybe 20 days, we don't want to trade it. And I'm going to write down the exact strategy for our strategy right here. So the strategy is as follows. So we have to identify double tops and double bottoms. So this we have done. And number 2, enter a breakout trade if double top, I'm going to call it DT, or double bottom, which is DB, is broken. And then double top or double bottom can't be older than 3 days. So as you can see, sometimes the FL is not able to identify anything, and then we have a 3-day-old support and resistance. So this is what we do. And 4, we only enter at the first breakout. So sometimes it can happen is that when we have a support and resistance, the level gets touched multiple times, and we're only going to trade the first breakout, of the next following day or days. So this is the strategy, and then we can work with stop losses, set stop loss to X and take profit to X, right? So later we can do that. So right now, just going for a quick toilet break. I'll be back in a minute, and then I will show you some of the backtests that I have done. So this is the current strategy. Okay, so be right back. Alright guys, so I had a very quick toilet break. Yeah, let's get to backtesting. Okay, so how do we continue? Identify double tops and bottoms, done. Enter breakout trade if double top or double bottom is broken. So let me show you a function, how I identify, a broken support resistance, right, or double top or double bottom. So the open price of the candle must be below the resistance, and the close price must be above the resistance. So probably I've drawn this many times already. So let's say this is the resistance. Oh, my straight lines are not so great today. So this is the resistance. So basically the open price, if you have a candlestick, so it's a bullish candlestick, right? Because it is the open. This is the open price, must be below the resistance, and this upper corner here is the close price, right? So this is a break of our level. So our open is below, close is above, and so if the open is less than resistance and the resistance is less than the close, we have a bullish breakout. And the same applies for support. So if the open is above the support and closes below the support, we have a bearish breakout. So this function I'm applying right here. So here, as you can see, apply check breakout, and then I shift it by 1 again, because when I'm trading, I want to make sure that this breakout, you know, is measured after the close of the candle. Then I also, you know, computed some other values, but these values I'm going to share with you, you know, explain later what I did. This is just some, you know, basic data analysis, you know, if I should hold the trade for 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 6, 12, or 24 hours. So here I have different results in profit based on the duration. And for me, you know, checking, you know, if I should hold the trade for 3 hours or 1 day, provides me a rough estimate, you know, how the take profit stop loss should be, for example. Or I can just, you know, decide, okay, I'm gonna hold it for 3 hours, see what happens, and then I'm gonna close the trade. So all of that are possible strategies for the trading bot that we're going to code. But yeah, for now I just did this analysis, and then we can have a look in detail, you know, how these values have been performing, you know, over the past 5 years. We see, you know, that some years the breakout were not good, some years the breakout performed better. And then we also, for example, here have, for example, how the breakout performed for each hour of the day. And it seems like if you enter a short breakout on the S&P 500, I believe we're currently testing on the S&P, no, this is the NASDAQ. So if we currently test on the US Tech Index, we see that bearish breakouts perform really nicely, you know, at the end of the trading session, and that is very interesting. So here at 22, we have 3 bearish breakouts that happened during this time. So that is very interesting. Okay. So let's continue with our analysis. And what I said is that we also need to check, you know, how long or how valid the double top and double bottom is, because we don't know for sure yet. I wish there was something like oh, I think I know what we can do. So what we can do is we can use the rolling method again, and we can take the, you know, past 3 days, and then we, after that, we can extend the support resistance by extra 3 days. So I'm going to do like this. So instead of using F-fill, I'm going to take our support and resistance level. I'm just gonna call it 2 now, because I don't want to, you know, discuss that too much. And yeah, I wanted to use the rolling, so instead, so I'm shifting that in the future. Here I'm going to use rolling 3. I'm just gonna take the first value, so that way I will still keep you know, the values of, actually I need to take the rolling 4 and keep the first value, so that way I make sure that the sub resistance is still valid for 3 days. Yeah, I think that should work. And maybe I can. Now I think I just have to. What is it again? I have to add these two together. So it's either this or this. So I can actually we can use apply lambda x. We can just use resistance. If there's any value, otherwise we use resistance too. And for support, we can use support 2. Oh, rolling object has no attribute first. Maybe that works. So basically, we're taking a series and I'm taking the first value. I'm not sure if that would work. No, the key error is 0 doesn't exist, but x.ilog 0, maybe that could work. No, so this is basically just applying value, you know, on individual values. Let me just check the quick syntax. So rolling, take first value. Or actually, because it's upon resistance, I can just take the maximum value. Because it's either none or some value. So in this case, I think that could work also. And there are no numeric values aggregate because some of the values are not like non-type. And based on Stack Overflow, what I did previously actually worked, but I have to use .ag, so using the aggregate function after rolling will work. So we use lambda x, and then we use x.0. So maybe that could work. Okay, this doesn't work yet. Let's try ilog again, if that works. So we're just taking the first item from the index. Okay, and this still is not working, so let's check on Stack Overflow if we have anything that could help us. So that's interesting. So we have df rolling 3, and it works on data frame, but here, so we have the column, we have the rolling, then we use the aggregate function, and then we return the value of that, so first and last. So for instance, we take the last 3 records, we would take this value. So in this case, maybe we should just use shift. I think shifting shifting would work as well. But I actually wanted to try this solution, so never mind. Here now we have a key error because we instituted access is equal to 1, and now it seems to be working. Okay, so we're projecting high here, and then we have September 4th, 5th. So here we only have 2 days of resistance, even though I want this to be 3 days. So do I assume that maybe I didn't shift enough? Maybe should I use shift 4? I'm wondering. Let's look at another example down here. So again, we project this support in the past. So now this is a new valid support at the new day. So we have May 3rd. Then we have May 6th because it's a weekend. Then we have May 7th and May 8th. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 days. And it could also be that, you know, that this level here, yeah, it's valid. It's here. And it could continue in there. So yeah, the shifting actually oh, this seems to work. So maybe I may have a previous bug there. Oh, nice Vinicius. Oh, you're in a call, that's why you left. So yeah, nice to have you back. By the way, I sent you a link to integrate Discord onto, you know, our Discord channel. By the way, so just to show you, on Discord we have a members only chat where you can join us, and to integrate, you know, Discord, you need to follow the steps in this manual here, where you have to integrate the YouTube channel to Discord, and as a result you'll gain access to this, you know, member only section here. So make sure to check out that link, and yeah, if anything, let me know. Okay, let's now have a look at our potentially new support and resistance. Hopefully that could work. So we have May 3rd, 6th. Oh, that's the same one as before. There we run this. Okay, let's have a look at a support example here. Okay, so here we have our support level that is being projected here into the future. And we also see that here we have a breakout, like immediately, after weekend, we have a weekend breakout to the downside. And I'm still thinking that we have April 18th, but with the new logic that I've created, this April 18th should be projected 3 days further into the future again. So I believe that it is still not working. So I use the rolling 3, so I take the last 3 values and then I take the maximum value. So let me just go through some data and see, if there's something you can do. So as you can see, so resistance 2 takes a resistance, we take the rolling and it takes the maximum value. But here we still have none value. Moment periods can be set one. So maybe because there are none values, it is skipping all the things, and maybe if I add one as next, maybe that could work. Oh, now we see. So now we have our resistance here, and then we're adding 2 extra days to be part, of that. So now we have the resistance 2 here, which is extending all of that. And actually, I don't need to, recompute it again. I can just assign the new values down here. And for some reason, the other function did not work because I wanted the resistance, to be filled. Like this value should be put here, and this value should have been put here. Okay, so now it seems to be working quite well. So now if we extend this, maybe that should work now. Yes, I finally did it. Great. So now the values are extended. So April 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. So we have 3 days here. Sometimes the values can be longer because during the 5 days have not expired yet. So the lines can get longer, but it looks much better now. So now, for example, if we have this support line here, for example, we are waiting price to go down here, and then we would be looking for a breakout. So now let's proceed with the backtest now, shall we? Okay, so now what we should do is, because we are able to clean something up, now we have the double tops and double bottoms. We want to make sure that we only enter on the first breakout. Like we can test multiple breakouts, but for me it's nicer just to check a single breakout. So what we can do is, we know that resistance support all have same values in a row, and then there's none value. So what we can do is we can simply check if the previous value is the same, and if no, we know we can mark it as the start and the end of the support and resistance line. So also what I'm going to add is our resistance ID is equal to, so this is just a number of the resistance that we're marking now. Okay, so resistance ID is we need to check if the previous value is the same, and then we add 1 if they are the same. So this or we just have to check actually if there are any gaps between non-values, and based on that we just mark the ID of that resistance. So I can actually take the resistance I can take resistance, I can shift the value by 1, and let's see what this value will return. Set scroll. So this is because if you subtract none with 0 and 0, that means that if the two values are the same, we can return 1, otherwise we return none. So maybe I can actually create a function, get resistance ID is equal to, or actually we take the parameter x. So if and here I can compute a new value, so I'm going to compute the value OHSD1 next resistance value, and that value would be OHLC D1 resistance, and then shift the value by 1. Then we get this. I can also compute this for the support. So the next support value is our support, and then we shift 1. Okay, so if get resistance ID so if resistance is equal to the next resistance value, which is this one, we return 1. Or actually, I think I should check with the previous value. That would be, that's fine. Return 1, else we return 0. And I'm going to create the same function for the support level. So here I'm just checking the values, and let me now I need to call the functions, of course. So resistance ID is equal to, and I'm going to take the function, then I'm gonna use apply. I'm gonna now add in the resistance ID here. Now let's run this, and axis is equal to 1. Now on the right side we have the resistance ID. So now we see that we have 1 and 1. Now the problem is that these values are the same because as you can see here, they are subsequent, right? And this one is the same. So basically I should compare always the first value. So if the previous value is none, then I should set 1, otherwise I set 0. And that way we can always, or we can just check if there are two values in a row. And then I can do a cumulative sum and then check it by ID to see the value. Right, Van. Yeah, thanks. Or maybe I'm thinking if there's like also another way. Maybe I could, for example, also check for, just group by date and check the first resistance break of each date. I think that should be fine because I can also analyze the resistance zones, and in this function I'm returning the maximum of high 2 and high 1 and high 2. Here maybe what I can do is so this function already fixes the issue in case there might be a non-type. So I don't need to worry about subsequent days. So I think, again, everything I've done here is not necessary. I can just compute the first breakout of each day because if a new day comes, then the support and resistance will update accordingly. Because the analyzed support resistance zones already takes that into account. The only problem that we have here is that we have shifted the values. If we look at the rolling part here, right, we have shifted the values 3 days into the future. So if on one day the support resistance has been broken already, we have to check the break of sub resistance for the past 2 or 3 days if there was already broken support. And Vinicius takes again, for example, you need few candles to compute. The first candle will not have values. Your idea is good too. Yeah, thank you. So I'm going through, the values here again, and so if the previous value is, so I think I need to work with previous values. So here I'm going to take previous resistance and support, and actually it's correct because I already used the shift one is previous, so already made a mistake actually. So here the previous value is a non-value. So if the previous value is nothing and then the current value is something, I can set the ID to 1. Then I can see, how long the values are valid. So if this is equal to that, it will set to 1, and then I think I think we're good like that. So I think, yeah, we might need some time, like 5 or 10 minutes to again clean up the issues with the support and resistance, and after that we can continue with the original plan. So now so if X resistance is something, and okay, Python check if value is none, right? So we're checking for non-values. We can use math is none. So we would be using that to check if it's none in the data frame. Or I think you can also use NumPy. And now we want to compare non-values. Okay, so if we have some value for resistance, and then the previous resistance value, so is pandas is nothing, is NA, previous resistance value, then return 1, otherwise return 0. And let's try to apply the same logic to the support. And here we need to add a bracket. Well, thanks for help, Vinicius. Let's see if that works, and let me just check whether we have correct values in our data frame now. So here, unfortunately, oh yeah, right, because we didn't check for the first condition. So we have to check that this is not a non-type. So here we have to add negation, not, and then we have to add a second one here. So now we have a 1 every time both values are there. Okay, something's working, but not quite as I want it to. But at least something's working. So let's just look again at one of the examples, and hopefully we'll get there. How's our Bitcoin trade doing? Oh, almost $200 in profit. That's great. Today it seems like it's also like kind of pushing up. No, this is actually not Bitcoin. This is Bitcoin. Yeah, so we have a crazy bull run, guys. We're checking also this recent high. So I'm curious to see, we touched this high. And if you break this high, we could potentially see, even a bigger rally. So hopefully maybe like this would be like a very nice target. But if at the end of month we reach this level, we could potentially make like 500 US dollars in profit theoretically. So let's hope for the best, and potentially we could be looking at the retest of this big swing high. Yeah, so excited to see how that will work out. And yeah, so US Tech made minus 60 on Friday, I believe. So we made a loss. Here we had a very nice profit. So yeah, US Tech strategy is still going, still in profit, but yeah, this Bitcoin trade is currently the most exciting one. Okay, so let's continue with this one. Okay, so here we have resistance value, but we know that the previous resistance value is 0. So here we are just checking, if there are, any same values, and now this is what I did, Vinicius. Like I'm using the D1 data, and then I'm merging them into the H1 data later. So I have two data frames already. So currently this is already working. So I have the resistance IDs here. And the last thing I need to do is I need to use cumulative sum. So I can actually use the same logic for now the support ID. And here the support ID is basically just, applying the second function that we have here. And here I will have to use cumulative sum. So for every support resistance, I now have an ID where I can check the first breakout. So if you just look at an example, to the right. So here, what you can see here is that we have, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, which is another support and resistance. And I just want to, filter out, the empty ones because I used a cumulative sum. So what I can do instead is where we have none values, right? We can set this to none as well, and or 0. So for example, if I also modify the resistance ID, I can use another apply function. So here is equal to OHSD1 dot apply, and here in apply I will create lambda function, so lambda x, and I will just keep the resistance ID if or there's also not NA if resistance is not NA, else else it is none. So let's try to run this again. Again, I forgot to provide access is equal to 1. And now on the right side, or actually I wanted to return 0 in this case. and I forgot, it's not the resistance, but actually the value of X, resist ID. So this is resistance ID 1, 1, 1. For some reason, this still should have been 0. Maybe that doesn't work. So is NA, try the if not. Oh, and it's not the ID. I need to call the resistance column. And yeah, now it seems to be working. And now I can remove not, and I actually is not NA. I think, yeah, we just did it. So for every resistance ID, as you can see, we have 1, we have 2, we have 3, and so on. So now we can actually try to check for potential, first breakouts, because for every resistance and support ID, we have 3 and 1, and that's great. So as a result, we can check for the first breakout, second, third, and so on. And so if we now, run this, and we also need to provide the resistance ID and the support ID. And now after running this, now we can try to look for a first breakout. So here already we can already see, check the breakout sequences. So here we have the support breakout sequence, and then the resistance breakout sequence. So here I'm checking the first and second, breakouts. So there's the resistance breakout sequence, and here I need to provide just the support ID, which is this one, and then the resistance ID, which is this one. So now let's run everything. Here we have the function to check for the resistance and support. So now, yeah, that should be included now. And here, this is just some, random analysis on the breakout. So our breakout data frame, we want to check, if the breakout is, bearish or bullish. And now that we have also, our another condition, we can add other conditions. So we want to make sure that, it is the first breakout. So I'm actually going to first, split the conditions so they're separate. So our condition number 1 is that breakout is either bearish or bullish, using this check breakout function that we have right here. And then condition number 2, we want to make sure that it's the first bullish breakout or bearish breakout. So here our support breakout sequence. So here we are grouping by date, but instead we should be grouping by support ID and resistance ID. So for every support, I am checking the number of breakouts for that, and then here I'm just doing the breakout, like the number of breakouts, so using count, not sum actually. And for the resistance, we're just using the resistance ID. So hopefully if I run this now, there should be no error. So condition number 2 is that the support breakout sequence is equal to 1. And then for condition number 3, the resistance breakout sequence is equal to 1. And actually I need to combine this condition, because this is either bullish and resistance breakout, or bearish and support breakout. So so the first condition is, if we have a bullish breakout, we also want the support to look like this. So this is our first condition, and this is our second condition. And for condition number 2, we want to have something similar, but it is for resistance. And if it's a support breakout, it's a bearish breakout, so it's bearish like, it means it's bearish like this. I need to add a -1, and if it's a bullish breakout, it must be equal to 1. And now I can just add the conditions here. So condition 1, or, so we need to add the or operator for pandas, which is this. So either condition 1 or condition 2. And now let's run this, and unfortunately we have 0. So we might have some error here. So I need to check, if the breakout sequence is computed correctly. And as you can see here, for some reason, the breakout sequence is showing very weird numbers. So now, so here we are grouping by the support ID. And all right. And the problem is that we are computing it in the wrong space, because here we are having all the data, and for breakouts I need to compute them down here actually. So the initial logic was actually correct, so we need to remove this and then use isin, and isin -1 or 1. And so let me just comment this out, because we'll need it later. And let me also comment this out. So here we have our breakout DF, and here, once we identify the breakout, we can group by support ID, resistance, and then count up the number of breakouts. So here now this works, and then we need to add a second filter. So breakout DF again is equal to breakout DF, where breakout DF, the support sequence is equal to 1. So this is the first condition. And the second condition is where the support breakout sequence is also equal to 1. So again, we're just checking the first breakout of each support and resistance. So this is support, this is the resistance. And here we just have to, say either the condition number 1, or, oops, let me change my keyboard again. I need the or operator, condition number 2. So let's try to run this again. Again, we have 0 data. Yeah, guys, I need another toilet break. So yeah, today I've been drinking a lot. Be right back in a few minutes. So yeah, please. All right, sorry, I was muting. So I'm back, guys. Thank you for your patience. So here we have again an empty data frame. Just in case, let me try to print this breakout df if we have any values. So yeah, so after filtering, we get an empty data frame, and if we look at the data frame before that, we do have data. Instead, let me actually use display, because display has a nicer format. Okay, so let's have a look at the issue regarding the breakout formats. So this is the first display that we have here, and it is basically filtering out the data frame where the breakout is either bearish or bullish. So these are all the candles that contain potential breakouts. And also, as you can see here, we have the support IDs and also the resistance IDs. So we know that, for example, this is the first breakout, right? This is also the first breakout, and so on. So so to get the first breakout, the breakout sequence so we're grouping by support ID, and then we're using count. So if we we need to check, yeah, not all columns are being displayed right now, so I need to change something real quick. So here I need to specify max number of columns, so pd.set option, and here we add display dot max columns, and then we just if we set this to none, then we should be showing all the columns. So now if we run the block down here, or let's run everything now, we should be able to see all the columns now in our data frame. Okay, so here we have the resistance ID, and the right side we have the breakout sequence, and as it seems the breakout sequence is none, or NaN. So that's very strange, because we hope to see we hope to see some number based on the breakout sequence. So here, for example, we support ID 0, we have support ID 1, and so on. So for each value, we wanted to see the value, and I think if I added the count breakout up here, and then we take count breakout here, and I use the ag function, if I do like that, hopefully we now get the count breakouts. So breakout FCD breakouts. Oh, and I see the mistake because I am computing the breakout DF based on the OHLC data frame. So that's a mistake on my side. And now it looks like we're having some data being output. So for example, here we have actually the best thing we can do is maybe I will just simplify the columns here. So what we need is I will add the time, I will add the support breakout sequence, I will add the resistance breakout sequence, I will also add the support ID, and here I can also add the type of breakout it is, and on the right side I will also include the resistance data. So here if I add the resistance ID, I think that should be sufficient. And by running this now, I'm just going to show the important columns that I'd like to share with you. And so what we have here is we see the support ID and the breakout sequence. So we know that we have two breakouts here. Here we have the first breakout, and here is the second breakout. Again, we have the first breakout, second and third breakout, 4, 5, 6, 7, and so on. So what we can do now is we can just measure the first breakout, or even try the second breakout in the future, so we can actually measure the success rates of just the first breakout. So to do that, I'm going to filter out based on the support breakout sequence, which must be equal to 1, and which is what I did here. And yeah, so now I don't need to display this anymore, because I'm certain that now my code works. So I'm just going to run this, and so now we can actually proceed with the action analysis, because I'm confident that our computing support resistance is done. And so we are trading the Nasdaq, and we are just checking the first breakout of each sequence. And what we see here is that for some reason, so what this chart for example implies is that in 2022, if we enter a short breakout and it's the first breakout sequence, it would imply that the market would reverse if we were to enter into a short breakout. On the other hand, if we, for example, went on a long breakout in 2022, we'd be in a slight profit, and here we'd be in a slight loss. This is what it means. And also, we see a very big spike here, and what this means is that if we enter at 17 or 5 p.m. afternoon server time, if we go into a short breakout trade, it seems that the market would strongly reverse. So this would be, for example, an indication that this breakout is false, and whenever we break out of the level, we should go into the reverse at 1700. So this is a very interesting analysis, but also what you can see is that we only have two breakouts for reference. So there are not like that many breakouts that we can investigate, because if we look at this or actually I should have displayed the breakout DF. So let's display our breakout data frame. How many breakouts are in total with the first break through the higher low? In total we have only 18 of such breakouts in the past 5 years. So the sample size is pretty low. So this is something that we should also take into consideration, that we have a very low sample size. So what you can do to increase the sample size is, for example, increase the deviation tolerance, increase the time frame, maybe decrease this window, or actually increase it, because then we have more highs and lows that we can compare it with. Because as you know, for a support and resistance, what we're doing is we need a lot of candles. So for example, if I actually say to 20, which would take monthly double tops and double bottoms, we could potentially use that for increasing the sample size of support and resistances. And now instead of let's scroll down how many breakouts we had, because last time we only had how many breakouts? 18, suddenly we have 28. So we slightly increased the number of breakouts, and yeah, that's basically it. So the analysis is still very similar. So in the afternoon, if you, for example, trade the US tech, again, what this data implies, we just focus, for example, at 1600. On the Nasdaq, the first breakout, the monthly breakout, tends to be a fake out. And so if you run a backtest, so here we wanted the breakout to be equal to 1. And so if we make sure that the support breakout sequence is equal to 1, then we can test for a backtest. So we always want it to be the first breakout, and now we can run a backtest. So of course I need to apply a commission here. I was testing on the USD JPY previously, and yeah, the key error is we are missing the support breakout sequence. And the reason why is that I'm working with OHLC H1 data frame, but I computed the breakout sequences in the breakout DF. So I need to merge this into the original data frame. So OHLC H1 is equal to OHLC.H1.merge, and I'm merging the breakout data frame that I have. So this is our breakout DF, where we have everything filtered out with the breakout sequences. Or what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to call it breakout DF2, because I want to keep the original data here. So here we are just going to change it to breakout DF2. We run this, and the original breakout DF will be used to merge it into our original data frame. So if we scroll down, so merge breakout DF, so I'm just going to add time column, the support breakout sequence, so support breakout sequence, and then the resistance breakout sequence, and we are merging on is equal to time. And how let's just use the inner. So now we merge this, and now let's run it. All right. So now it seems that our backtest is in a minus, because as you can see, right, when I mentioned this and this part, what it means is that on the US tech, it seems that these breakouts tend to be fake outs based on the historical data that I've provided, and we can also see that down here, right, that it's in a loss. Or actually no, it's not correct, because the backtest hasn't even started yet. So here we have the support breakout sequence, and so I need to join the data, run this, and run this now. So now running this P&L chart, and we actually see now that in fact it seems that the backtest is profitable based on our analysis. So that is very interesting. And so now the question is, like this strategy, if we look at it, we only have like 15 trades that we enter in the past 5 years. That is not a lot of trades. So what can we do to increase the frequency of the trades? Maybe we need to go into lower time frames and increase the frequency of trades. This is one thing that we could do. Or another thing that we could do is just trade more assets, right? And if you now look at the breakout sequence here, we also have an in-depth analysis. How much we are gaining if you look at gain 1 hour, 2 hour, and so on. How much we are gaining, if you hold the trade 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour, 6 hour, 12 hour, and so on. So what if I instead of just showing the 1 hour gain, I could show you like almost like all the gains, like for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. So instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to, for example, hold the trade for 12 hours, and I'm going to rerun this, and we're going to see, how the profits behave based on the increased duration. And the best thing to do is actually compare or split it into bullish and bearish breakouts. So buy by hour and then sell by the hour. And let's have also a look at some example trades. I think the best way, to understand what we're doing is to just look at the trades, and hopefully we'll find something. Oh, we need to rerun this because this is still an old chart. Oh, and this is because of the inner join. So actually the how is equal to outer was correct here. Right. Let me rerun everything again just in case. And now, yeah, it seems that it looks much worse. So reversing the trades initially was actually a good idea. So instead of buying, when we have a bullish breakout, let's sell. And instead of selling, let's buy. So if we reverse that, hopefully we'll generate a profitable curve now. Oh, and yeah, we see that it is a profitable curve. And again, like the sample size is very low. But let's also have a look at the visualized backtest and see, what opportunities we can find. So here, for example, if you look at this trade, so we are going against the breakout. So here we see that we have a double bottom. Maybe I should zoom a bit out. So I'm zooming a bit out. Let's draw the things again. And so what we have here is, we have the first touch and the second touch probably somewhere right here. So we are projecting backwards now. And here we have a breakout to the downside. So this is our breakout to the downside. And our strategy told us whenever we break out below, we should go into reverse, and then buy, when the double bottom is broken. So this right here was a profit trade, so it was a fake out trade. So we saw a break of support, and then we decided to go against the breakout, which is pretty interesting because textbook wise everything they teach us is trade with the trend, but of course here we are trading against the trend. Yeah, so very interesting example here. Maybe let's have a look at other trades if we find something. So let's just scroll, and hopefully we'll find some other opportunities. Maybe I'll just zoom out and look from it, edit from the bigger picture. So we saw this trade, for example. I can see also some recent trades. So let's zoom in a bit, to the latest trades that we have here. And I'm just trying to find. Here we have, for example, losing trade. So what we have here is an example of where the breakout is strong. So here we have a touch, probably somewhere previous we also had another touch. So here what we have here is a breakout. So this is the breakout candle, and we entered into long position here. We hoped for price to go up, but it went down instead, and unfortunately we closed this trade in a loss. So yeah, and I think there are also other ways to maybe work on it. Maybe we could, for example, try working with trailing stop losses, because usually when there is a breakout, people usually say that, during a breakout, you should, have a much higher reward to risk. So maybe you should try trailing, or maybe set a stop loss, maybe add this previous candle and see how the trades perform, based on the trailing stop loss. So maybe this is some way we could optimize the breakout trades. So maybe we could go for an aggressive entry and trail, always at two highest candles and see how that would perform. So I think, we have a very strong foundation on trading breakouts, and now what is missing is just, going in depth into, like trying to get into every individual case, different markets, different symbols, and so on, and we'll try to build a strategy on top of that. And I believe that every market will be different. And what we haven't tried yet is we haven't tried, to look into maybe lower time frames. There's something that we haven't done yet. So if we, for example, want to trade, M15 breakouts, right, on the M15 time frame, maybe we could measure something like, highs and lows on the hourly, and then, create a trading bot that trades on the M15 chart. So I started like with D1, of course, because I prefer, long time frames initially, but for intraday day trading, maybe we also try to, perform some analysis. Cross-check timeframes before open and close can help. Yeah, definitely. So yeah, I think there's still a lot of work to do, but for now I'm going to commit this code. So I think we've done, very good job today. So today is the 15th, and this price action analysis has had very good progress now. So what we can do during our next session, I believe, is that we can code trading bot. Like this trading bot will not, I believe, be fully like profitable, like tested. But I think that it is a good start to start writing prototypes. So we push the project somehow forward. And now if you look at our file with the current strategies, so let me just share it with you very quick. So again, as I mentioned, here we have our US 100 momentum bot. We have our Bitcoin trade, it's currently in profit. Our D4 breakout bot, I'm not sure if I want to release it because we've had like a good backtest, based on the historical data. But this D4 breakout bot is very similar to the current project where we're actually using price actions such as double tops and bottoms. So it is actually using a single top and bottom because it's like using the previous session's high and low. So I would like still, maybe put this string bot on hold while I work on the price action strategy. And of course, we're doing swing trades, for S&P 500 XAUSD in the upcoming months. So this is currently going on. And and I see that, our Bitcoin trade is actually pushing up. So that's amazing. So while I was talking, our PNL, jumped by extra $100. So that is pretty amazing. And maybe as I predicted, we might be touching this high very soon, and actually sooner than expected. So that's kind of crazy. So yeah, everything is going pretty well today. Yeah. So again, I'm actually happy that after some time, because the first 2 weeks, have been a bit rough. We were in a floating loss, but what can I say? Stick to the plan. So on the first day, if you look at this trade, right, guys, so this was our first trade on Bitcoin. Immediate the first day, we just went down, right? Imagine how it would feel. Yeah, I made an analysis on stream. Everyone, yeah, let's go long. Immediately go down. But yeah, then we went to break even, and then like a second drop here. So, yeah, you get the point. So sometimes trading can be very stressful because it goes down, and I think, I guess it's just patience, sticking to the plan. And even if we lost money, right, we would have to accept the loss. And as you see, right now we opened another trade on the US tech. Seems like, the market is also very volatile. So let me just remove some objects here. So yeah, today we're having a lot of trades. So our US 100 momentum bot just opened a trade. So we're like after this market open. So the momentum candle is not very strong, but still based on the algorithm that we've made, here we have a momentum candle to the upside, and now we enter long position. So potentially we might see, some relative upside. Like personally, like, what the bot's doing, it's the bot's job because I coded it that way. It's the algorithm. But we see, some potential selling pressure here because you see the candle, try to, poke through its level, then it closed below. So we'll see what will happen. But anyways, we're hedged because BTC/USD is sort of, almost like counter correlated with the US stock market. I would assume so if you look at this. But anyways, both is trending quite strongly. And do we have any news today? Like I didn't check any economic calendar, so for some reason, like within this is the M15 chart, right? So this trade is crazy, like yeah, crazy breakout. So yeah, well, we can just chill and have a look at this trade. Pretty cool, pretty cool. Yeah, yeah. I'm not really convinced about the US trade, but we don't touch it. It's our trading bot, and sometimes your bot is right, and sometimes you as a trader are wrong, right? That's I think quite common, and I think your mood also plays a big role, whether something goes up and down. But overall, like the stock market, if you look at the stock market in general, it's like crazy. So if we go on daily, the German stock index is now at the all-time high. So would you believe that? And also we have the Nasdaq or US Tech, right? We're trading on the daily. We're now, close to reaching another all-time high. Yeah, so it is quite interesting. Like who would say, most people are now like against investing because everything's so expensive. But what can you do? It's better to be an all-time high than all-time low, I guess, when it comes, having a financial crisis wouldn't be nice. Okay, so I think yeah, for today, I think that would be it. We will continue with our price action, analysis or trading. I guess tomorrow. Tomorrow's Wednesday. So we'll proceed with that. I think we'll start coding a trading bot as I promised, and how the bot will deploy if it should go like into the reverse direction, same direction, we can improve that. But if we are able to implement, just the computation of support and resistance with the actual breakout, then we already have a very nice prototype. So I'll be streaming tomorrow around the same time. I think for now I would prefer members only chat because I realize that you guys first of all you support me, so that's one thing, but with less chat I can actually focus more on the coding, right? Sometimes when random people come to the stream and then ask questions, that is fine, of course, right? But sometimes you want to focus on work rather than interact with the chat. So I think I want to keep it some balance. So maybe on Thursday or Friday, I might, have again like open chat to anyone, or I will just let you guys know, okay, guys, I'm focusing. You can type in the chat. I'll try to reply, but I'll mainly focus on the work. So we'll see, how I feel about that. Because today, for example, I could take my time, and we were actually able, to do that. So yeah, so if you want to check out the code again, it's already committed on GitHub. Let me check if it's actually committed. Yeah, it's committed, and that's good. Oh, Vinicius is writing Java. So yeah, I'm not a Java guy, but yeah, maybe Vinicius can provide more information in Discord. So make sure to check out Discord members only section. Hopefully right now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 members. Yeah, that's one side account, for streaming. So yeah, everything should be fine. All right, guys. So again, thank you for coming to the stream. It was nice streaming today. I'm also very happy results, especially happy with the current Bitcoin trade. Uh, we'll see how it will continue, and see you guys tomorrow. All right then, bye bye, and have a nice day, guys.